Hi there, this is the Next Gen Guide to English Grammar, and this lesson is a summary of present simple sentences. Our first sentence, the book is on the table. Now this is an affirmative present simple sentence. That means that we're saying that something is so, we're not saying it's not, we're not negating here, we're making an affirmative statement. Okay, so remember, for affirmative present simple sentences, the structure is subject, verb 1. So here, the subject is the book. Of course, we're using the definite article here, the book. So these words go together as the subject of the sentence. And the verb is, because we're describing something. The book is on the table. What is on the table? The book is on the table. And is of course a form of to be. And remember, be is, am, or are. And here, the subject of the sentence is one object, and it's not a he or she, it's an it. And when the subject of an affirmative present simple sentence is it, then the verb to be becomes is. It is, the book is on the table. Our next sentence, I work in an office. Here, we're gonna use the same structure. Subject, verb 1. All right, so we have to look for the verb in the sentence, which is was the action. Of course, it's work. So who works? I do. I work in an office. So here the verb is to work and the subject is I. Very straightforward, very simple. Here, the meaning, remember we have two uses for the present simple. We can use it to talk about routines, or we can use it to talk about facts and generalizations. This is a routine. We're talking here about a routine. We're talking about that somebody goes to work maybe every day or 5 days a week or every weekend to work in an office. The next sentence, we start work at 8 o'clock. Okay, so here we're going to use again the same structure. Subject. What's next? Verb 1. However, if you remember the last sentence, the verb was work. And now here, this word work has a different meaning in this sentence. It's not actually the main verb. The main verb of this sentence is start. Okay, to start. What time do you start? We start at 8 o'clock. What do you start? I start work. So this is no longer a verb. Okay, so who starts? We do. The subject is we. And the verb is start. We start work at 8 o'clock. Let's look at some negative present simple sentences. This is a negative present simple sentence with be. So it has its own structure, which is subject, be not. Subject, be not. Now here the subject is I, and if the subject is I, then be must be am. Here we have a contraction, so we only put m, but this is am. Subject be, and then not. I am not. He is not, she is not, they are not. This is a negative present simple sentence with be. But what about if we're talking about an action or a state which doesn't use be? We're not describing anything. Then of course we have a different structure, which is we start with subject again. But this time we say do not or don't. And then verb 1. So subject, don't, verb 1. Of course, very straightforward. The subject is they. Then we have don't. And verb 1 is have, to have. They don't have any hot pepper sauce. The next sentence, you aren't late. Slightly different again. Here, the structure is still the same. This is a negative present simple sentence with be. So if you remember, we should have subject, be, not. However, here, be and not are in a contraction, which is aren't. So it's still there. It's just been put together in a contraction. So be, not, aren't, and who isn't? You. So the subject is you, and when the subject is you, be becomes are, and then we add not. So you aren't late. Do you like pasta? So now let's look at some questions. Of course, this is a do question. Why is it a do question? Because we're talking about an action or a state that we're not talking about be. We're not using is or am or are. So for a do question, naturally we start with do, and then subject, and verb 1. Do you like pasta? What's the verb? To like. Who likes, or who do we want to know? Likes, you. And of course, do. Do you like pasta? And here we have a be question, a question with be. So, of course, we're going to start with be. But be questions are very, very simple. It's just be, subject, and that's it. If we want to, we can add more information, but the most important part of a be question is that we have the verb to be and the subject. So the subject here is the clothes. The clothes we can describe as they. It's a group and we're not in the group. So when the subject is they, then be becomes are. So they are, or are they? Now it's a question. Are the clothes dry yet? Next question, what time do you finish work? Now this is not a yes or no question, it's an open question. It's a WH question. Remember, WH questions are who, how, why, what, where, and when. So let's put the structure. We start with WH, and then we just continue the structure for a do question, the same. Do, subject, verb 1. So what's the verb here? The verb, of course, is to finish. We're asking about the act of finishing, and we want to know what time. So we will put what time together as the WH word. And then, of course, we added do, and the subject is, of course, you. What time do you finish work? Now let's see if you can answer this question before we complete it. So something the power, is it A, I've got the power, B, I have the power, or C, I got the power? Now all of these are grammatically correct, but only one of them is present simple. And we want to know which one it is. So the easiest way to find that out is just to remind ourselves of the structure of present simple sentences. This is affirmative, of course, it's not negative. We don't have not anywhere, and there's no question marks. There was not a question. So for affirmative present simple sentences, the structure is subject, verb 1. And of course with A, we're looking for an answer with only two parts, with a subject and a verb. Of course, we have three parts for A. We've got I, have, and got. So it's not A. So it could be B or C. But if we look more closely, then of course C, this is verb to, or the past simple form of get. So I got is verb to, so that's not correct. So the answer is B. I have the power, as a famous cartoon used to repeat very often when I was younger. Okay, so that was the summary of present simple sentences.